experience, which I feel I am much better at now, I just ignore it, is I used to get so annoyed whenever I wanted to park my car and I see those drivers parking their cars in between cars and leaving little spaces. I used to write a little note and stick it on their window and say, please park your car properly next time. So what do you call this? You call it frustrated, angry. So we will explore more about this, the negative emotion of anger. First thing that we need to know about anger, it's all about the rules we want others to follow, or the personal rules, or this moral compass that we have, and we want everyone to follow, including ourselves, or we get angry with ourselves if we don't get it the way it should be. This certain way, things need to be this way, just like the way I wanted it, and nicely park my car. And instead of having all these little spaces in between. So my rules is people need to park their cars properly. Or sometimes you refer to it as being frustrated or annoyed or angry or raged as well. So the first thing that we need to be that with anger, sometimes there can be aggression. People can be very aggressive, and you will notice when something not done the way that they want it, they will get really aggressive verbally and sometimes physically. The second thing about anger, that people suppress this feeling, and when they suppress it, they might sulk and go away and they look very friendly, but internally they are so unhappy and so angry. And this is passive anger or passive aggression. And there is a third type of anger, like in my way, I want to be assertive. You will see some people when they express their anger, especially with the passive one, the one is suppressed and not expressed very well. As I said, people might look very, very friendly, but inside they internalize it to a way that their passiveness will come out suddenly in an aggressive way, because they've been building up this kind of passive emotion internally, and it comes out suddenly in an aggressive way. It is described as a traffic light colors. So the red one is the anger with aggression, aggressive anger, the aggressive person. Then we have the yellow or the amber color in the traffic light is where the passiveness comes in, the passive anger. And the green one is the assertive anger. It's the better way, because direct expression of anger, that I feel angry about this and I want a solution about it. The red one, you will definitely see when someone is aggressive, they are into your space. So you see the pointing finger, the fist, their hands on the hips, their voice getting a bit loud. You don't feel safe around them. And with the passiveness, their tone of voice goes a bit lower. It's similar to hurt. They don't want to have this eye contact. They might withdraw from the whole situation. They bite their nails. They bite their lips because it's something suppressed. They don't want to express it. So therefore, you will notice people acting as a friendly and nice, but underneath they are very, very angry because they do not like the conflict. With the assertive way is direct. I want to show you that I feel angry, but they express it. They don't become very suppressive about it or aggressive about it. Ways of expressing our anger, and I'm sure that we've all heard about where people scream into their pillow or cushion things to have this temporary relief, but the emotion will come up to a surface again because we haven't dealt with very, very well. We need to go back to the roots, and we need to kind of cognitively work out what's happening in us. Where does this anger come from? It comes from the belief that we have at the back of our minds that things should be, people must do this exactly the way I want it to be. And if not, things go the right way, it should be, I'm going to get really angry, and you see people throwing things or shouting or throwing tantrum. The unhealthy anger is all about the person is not able to see the other's point of view. And therefore you will notice that they think the other's doing all these things, breaking the personal rules that's we set in a deliberate way. And therefore they feel I'm going to attack them verbally and sometimes physically. In the passive anger, where you will see people, they suppress their feelings and take it out on something else. Like in situations where they scream out in the air, or they scream to their cushions or hit their cushions. To have the negative emotion, but it's healthy. Because we are not robots. We have feelings, we are humans. So instead of overestimation of the other person, doing this deliberately to break the personal rules that we set, we view things in a more realistic way. We don't see the other person having this malicious intention to do such a thing, to make us angry or to break the rules. We have, again, a better view of the other person point of view or the situation. We don't want to take a revenge from the other person, and we don't view ourselves we have to be right or we are always right. To express the annoyance better than anger is just to express how we feel about the situation, but we do not demand it, request it with assertiveness. To distinguish between feeling angry or annoyed, look out for how you're going to think. What is your mind going to tell you? If your mind going to tell you that the other person doing that on purpose, they're doing that deliberately, they have very malicious intents, and you overestimate the whole situation, this is anger. And if you notice that you have the desire to verbally or physically attack them, this is definitely anger. But if you notice that you don't really overestimate, don't think about them as really malicious, and you don't want to take a revenge of them, and you don't have that desire to attack them verbally, I'm sure that you've learned by now how much I love saying, repeating over and over again, because in order for you to see a change, you need to have a consistent practice. Our mind, our brain loves repetition. In order for you to see a huge difference, you need to repeat things over and over again to see the change. It's better if we stick to a mantra, this mantra that we always prefer and wish for things to be the way that we want them to be treated nicely, for people to park their cars nicely so I can park my car as well. But we accept that's may not happen. You know, I might not always be right, and others might not always be right, and we accept that. Accepting this, it might happen at some occasion, is a flexibility, and it does meet the reality of our life. Notice yourself that you're getting really, really angry. Take yourself away from that situation and rethink it. Go for a walk, do something else, rethink the whole situation, and remind yourself of this preference that I wish for things to be in this way. But then you acknowledge and you accept that sometimes this will not happen. And you acknowledge your feelings, that it was frustrating, it was difficult to tolerate, but you can tolerate it, you can cope, you empower yourself. And you accept yourself unconditionally. This doesn't mean anything about you, and you accept others as well. Before going and communicating to that person about how you feel, the frustration or what they've said to you made you angry, you need to rehearse it before going back to that person. So you need to start by saying, I feel really frustrated, I felt really angry, I am really annoyed because XYZ. And when you communicate it in that way, you communicate it in a calm manner, no need for aggression, and you don't need to hide anything. You don't need to be passive about it. You just need to say your emotion honestly and clearly to the other person. And that's all.